Hello. Welcome to Shepreneur Stories series, an initiative by 46XX that brings to light story of a woman entrepreneur per episode that might just cheer, inspire, aid and benefit you on your entrepreneurial journey, or might just convince you to become an entrepreneur if you have been toying with the idea for some time now.
Today, let's listen in to the story of Hardika Shah, founder and CEO of Kinara Capital, which she founded in 2011. You may read more about her accomplishments in the description box. Listen in to learn more about as to how did she get to where she is today. Hardika grew up in Mumbai before moving to the US for her undergraduate studies. Over the years, she's lived in Singapore, Australia and the US before returning to India to create Kinara Capital in 2011. Bangalore has been her home for the last decade. Hardika hails from a middle-class Gujarati family. She and her sister were raised by a very determined set of parents. Her father, despite being blind and born in a small village in Gujarat, became an accomplished professor of political science at the University of Bombay. He currently resides and continues to teach in the US. Her mother always had entrepreneurial leanings, was very active with volunteer groups, and ran a couple of small businesses while Hardika was growing up. Her parents worked hard to remove societal barriers on what one can or cannot do as a girl, and made a lot of sacrifices to send their girls for college education in the US. She believes that it was their sacrifices which gave her incredible opportunities and access and paved the way to getting to where she is today. Growing up, her parents put great emphasis on the significance of getting a good education, and as a result, as a child, Hardika took academics quite seriously. Becoming a class topper in the 10th encouraged her to take an ambitious leap for her higher education. She chose an unconventional path of doing her undergrad studies in computer science, but from a liberal arts college in USA, when it was still fairly nascent as a discipline. She loved the idea of challenging both her left brain and the right brain, and liberal arts education provided this environment. She was among less than 5 female students graduating with a computer science degree. Besides studies, Hardika was also involved in a lot of extracurricular activities in school, especially with the debate team. She also spent a lot of time with people with visual impairments growing up, as her parents ran a not-for-profit for the blind. She maintains that these early experiences have lent a degree of empathy to her overall outlook and has greatly contributed to her eventual decision to become a social entrepreneur. As she grew up in an environment where education was highly esteemed, she devoted herself to learning. Being academically inclined, her early hopes and aspirations were about doing well at school and eventually pursuing a higher education at a prestigious institution. Additionally, growing up with a blind father and an entrepreneurial mother who, along with being bold and risk-taking, also undertook a number of social and welfare initiatives, sparked a desire within Hardika to give back to society in whichever way she could. This too became a part of her aspirations over time. There was also a definite sense of deviating from the beaten path and never worrying about "log kya kahenge," what would people say, thanks to her parents. They took risks and endeavored with a fierce focus on education, thereby opening doors to new opportunities for them. Her parents put everything at stake to fund Hardika's education abroad. They sold their home and moved into a rental. A gamble unheard of in the 1980s for middle-class parents to go out of their way to send a child overseas to study, especially in the case of girls. This was a pivotal moment which has defined a lot of Hardika's efforts since. The fact that they took such a huge leap of faith meant that she had to make the absolute best of that opportunity so that the door could be opened for many other women to chase their dreams. She studied her undergrad at Knox College, a liberal arts college in the USA, and from there built her career in management consulting with Accenture. Along the way, she also pursued an MBA with Columbia Business School and UC Berkeley's Haas School of Business. While in business school, Hardika ran a pilot testing for an alternate risk assessment methodology. The success of that pilot was the genesis of founding Kinara Capital and shifting gears to India and a new career as a social entrepreneur. Thus, Hardika ventured into entrepreneurship in 2011 with the aim of transforming lives, livelihoods, and local economies by driving financial inclusion and growth for MSME entrepreneurs in India. Till date, Kinara Capital has disbursed over 4,000 crores in over 80,000 collateral-free business loans to small business entrepreneurs through its 125 branches functioning across 100+ cities in India. The impact of this has led to over 700 crores in income generation and over 300,000 jobs supported in local economies, which has in turn positively impacted over 1 million lives in India in the last decade. Kinara Capital has also built a purposeful work culture amongst its 1,600+ employees that values inclusivity for women, the differently abled, and the LGBTQ+ communities. It is also led by a women majority management team. Hardika will now give us a peek into what her entrepreneurial journey has been like.
Hello everyone, I'm so happy to be here. I'm Hardika Shah, founder and CEO of Kinara Capital. Kinara Capital is a fintech driving financial inclusion for MSMEs in India. Over the last decade plus of our work, we have disbursed over 80,000 loans as unsecured business loans to MSMEs in manufacturing, trading, and services across 6 states in southern and western India. My entrepreneurial journey came to me quite unexpectedly. I was actually working in management consulting, helping large companies solve complex problems and doing this globally. And with this, I had the opportunity to come to India, and I had not been back to India for some years. What I saw was this great divide post-liberalization. Small business entrepreneurs were still struggling to get capital to grow their business. And it took me straight back to my childhood, where a lot of my family members ran small businesses. And I remember how hard it was for them to find even small amounts of money to even sustain their business, let alone grow it. This made me feel like here is an opportunity that requires special attention. This is an area that banks were struggling to service because of the complexity of distribution. And I felt passionate enough to want to try. And to do that, I moved my entire life after being 23 years abroad on a 40-foot container with all my stuff, moved to Bangalore and started Kinara Capital. Well, as an entrepreneur, you face all kinds of challenges, most of them unexpected. And my journey is no different. There is capital raise, there is problem solving, there is governance, compliance, there is building a team. All this is par for the course. I think the one thing that was different is that as a solo female founder, it was definitely something that I did not expect in terms of the kind of questions I would get from bankers or even investors about my intention, my ability to really grow and scale this business. And it was stark to think this is how the world perceives female founders. And so the only thing I could do was actually hunker down, focus on the work, deliver results, and prove them wrong. The early support for me actually came from my early investors, Padamer Capital, Michael Susan Dell Foundation, and this was crucial. It was catalytic capital, patient capital, and it came with years of experience from people who understood the space, who understood the trials and tribulations of an early stage business, and who could really help me think through various scenarios and be clear in the direction I'm taking. The other support came from my team. It's actually very hard to find people who believe in your vision, especially early on, and I can never be thankful enough for my COO who joined me on this journey almost on day one in the early months, and he's with me today. He has been instrumental in helping shape how we think, how we design, how we build the org. And then when we had other individuals like my CFO and my head of HR join this journey, it became powerful to have people who believe in what we are doing and who are willing to work just as hard to make that vision come into reality. Work-life balance is difficult, whether you're in a high-pressure job, whether you're on an entrepreneurial journey, whether you're in an early part of that journey or the late part of that journey. Work-life balance, I feel, is a state of mind. And for me, I love what I do, so I never feel like it is work. And so it is certainly helpful to have that passion for something that I truly believe that we need to do in terms of solving this financial inclusion challenge for MSMEs in India. For balance, though, I am so thankful to have a great set of friends and family who I can go to, who I can unload, unpack, de-stress with. And anywhere in the world, there's a glass of wine waiting, which is always a great way to find balance. When I think about accomplishments, the Kinara journey is certainly one that I'm very proud of. We have established that unsecured business lending is a viable opportunity. And with this, we have impacted over 1 million lives. The other accomplishment I'm really proud of is building a very inclusive organization where 50% of my management team is women, and that we have women in every team across the board. This takes time, it takes an ability and willingness to be and create inclusivity. We have done a variety of programs to extend how we bring women, people with disabilities, people who are LGBTQ, transgenders into the organization and create a safe working space and place for them. And that I'm really proud about. Well, it's very hard to look in the rearview mirror, and I'm sure if I look hard enough, there will be 1 million things I'll think about that I regretted. But I do feel there is one that particularly stands. I'm a little old school, and I wasn't quite ready for this new world of social media and how important that is for how we connect with employees, with customers, with well-wishers, with onlookers, and honestly, not creating our marketing team, our branding team, our communications team earlier is the biggest regret I have, because I think we missed on an opportunity for several years to talk about the great work Kinara was doing, the great efforts of our team, and to give them that platform to have that say. And that is something I'd like to change if I could. Well, I'm hoping that the future is bright for Kinara Capital and for me. For Kinara Capital, we're already at 2,000 crores of AUM, and we hope to triple this in the next 2-3 years. This will get us IPO ready, and we hope that our dream to be an IPO company someday is made possible and is what the future holds for Kinara Capital. For me personally, I would love to spend more time on animal welfare. I spend a fair amount of time today taking care of a lot of our street dogs, and I feel like there's more to be done in this space, and I would love to have more time to do that. I think as an entrepreneur, you're so busy trying to build and solve problems and push forward so hard that one of the biggest things that is important that we all do is make sure that we take time for our team, time to spend with them, to help them learn, help them grow, time to give them to sound off issues, ideas, problems, and most importantly, time to thank them, to make sure they know that their work is appreciated, valued, and is what makes us move everything else forward. Women entrepreneurs are a special breed. We are constantly juggling, we are constantly solving, we are constantly fixing. And so, challenges of entrepreneurship are tough and arduous and for anyone. And as women, we are best placed to face them. There will be unique problems that are thrown at us that perhaps our male counterparts don't see, but it just means that we have to hunker down, dig in, work harder, look forward, and make it happen. I am so excited for the work that 46XX is doing. It is building an entrepreneurial ecosystem for women, by women, and this aligns perfectly with our objectives to facilitate women's entry and progress, whether it is in the workforce or in their entrepreneurial journeys. We pride ourselves for building an inclusive organization at Kinara, but we also provide a huge support system for our women entrepreneurs that we fund by giving discounts to their loan products, by mentoring, by building out a networking universe so that they feel that they are part of something. We all need to have this kind of space, and I'm thrilled that Rachna and 46XX is doing exactly that, and I'm very proud to be associated with it.
If you liked what you just saw and heard and would like to be notified as soon as we come up with more such content, like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon of our YouTube channel. Or follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or Sheroes. Or get yourself added to our mailing list by filling in a form. You will find the handles, addresses, links displayed on your screens and in the description box or comments section. Thank you and catch you soon.